Good evening and welcome to my How Healthy Are You weekly educational call. My name is Dr. Thomas Brewer. It's April 20th and I wanted to start off the call with a little more information about how to strengthen the immune system, which is really all we've got. Now in the newsletter, I'll be mentioning how the immune system isn't even talked about by the so-called famous people that are giving daily updates with the president. There's no mention at all about the human immune system, and it's kind of scary. I always wonder what the agenda is when no one gives any credit to the immune system, when really all of the credit should go to the immune system. So the first thing is there's vitamins that we should all be getting in our food, and if we're not getting them in our food, we should be taking them. And these are your best vitamins for your immune system. And first on the list is vitamin C, which you would get in citrus and even kiwi. Kiwi's real high in vitamin C. But most people know you can get plenty of vitamin C in your food. The next is vitamin D. And vitamin D is an immune system modulator. And the reason it's so important is pathogens like a virus, but even bacteria, can block vitamin D, and that weakens the immune system. Pathogens can also hide in calcium clusters. It's very complicated when we look at all the different viruses and other microbes that are in our body. In fact, the total cells of the viruses and the microbes far exceeds the cells that make up our skin and brain and bones and organs and hair, far exceeds just microbes and viruses. So it's always been about our immune system. Now getting back to vitamin C is a great antioxidant, and that's the main use in the immune system. Vitamin A is another great immune-boosting vitamin. So we have C, D, and A in pretty much that order. And what vitamin A does is increases the integrity of our mucus or mucosal cells. And it turns out that's very important to deal with viruses. We want to be able to utilize our mucosal cells the correct way, and that's what vitamin A does. I had mentioned earlier that zinc, when we go from vitamins to minerals, zinc is pretty much the best trace mineral. And there are plenty of foods high in zinc. In fact, you can easily do any sort of a Google search for foods high in blank, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin A, foods high in zinc, and then you would find those foods and make sure they're part of your diet every single day. If you're not getting enough, obviously you would supplement. Now, everything is in the Complete Vitamins Plus and at the right dosage, the optimum dosage. But there are other vitamins out there, but sometimes they have too much in them, which can be a problem. Another great immune system booster is garlic. Most of you know that. It is somewhat of an antibiotic, but it also helps the immune system fight off viruses. And then we get to colloidal silver. Colloidal silver actually starves the oxygen supply to microbes, and the way it does it chemically is it rips electrons off these microbes. It also rips electrons off the shell of a virus, and that's how you destroy viruses. And I say this pretty much every week. Viruses are not alive. They act like they're alive once they hook up to a cell in our body, and then they utilize the cell's DNA and change it, and at that point they're multiplying. But viruses do not consume food, do not have a waste stream, and they cannot self-replicate, unlike living cells. Living cells can do all that. But the way silver works is pretty much universal, whether it's a bacteria or a virus. It rips electrons from the outer layer, and that just destroys a bacteria or a virus. And that's why we talked about a month ago about spraying a 50-50 solution of colloidal silver and just let it sit there, let it stay on your furniture, and as long as you don't wipe it away, it will work, and that'll make your home your sanctuary. You can spray your car. You can even spray yourself when you leave a store before you get into your car. All great, simple things to do. I always wonder, why didn't we do 1/10 of these procedures during the normal cold and flu season? It just amazes me that we're going through these huge measures to avoid getting a flu virus when we could have been doing just a fraction of this, and very few people would have gotten any flu. In fact, I'm somewhat convinced that those people with the standard flu, standard influenza the past month or two, I think they've been lumped into the coronavirus category. It seems like every flu is just tagged coronavirus, and every death is tagged coronavirus, and it's somewhat unreal and really hard to understand what's really going on out there. But that's how you would strengthen your immune system. Now, what weakens the immune system you want to avoid, and that's poor sleep and a small amount of sleep. Most of us might be able to get a lot of sleep because we're home all the time. We can't go out as much. So maybe sleep isn't a problem, but stress can lower our quality of sleep. And I had mentioned last week about what stress can do to our hair, and either the loss of hair or loss of hair color. So it's all about relaxing and breathing, and I've got a video on the breathing. It'd be nice to revisit that. Any of those would all be good. The other thing that weakens our immune system, and we mention this a lot too when we talk about diet, is sugar or glucose or any food that converts to glucose quickly. So if you're eating high glycemic index foods, which are foods that convert to glucose quickly, you better not be eating much meat, because that combination really weakens the immune system and sets us up for a lot of inflammation. Your high glycemic index foods would be breads and rice. So these are your starchy carbs. In general, we shouldn't be eating sugar itself, or at least vastly reduced amounts of sugar. So sugar is the ultimate high glycemic index food. And then we have these other foods that are foods, but they convert to glucose very quickly. And rice and breads are high on that list. But for the people that don't eat meat, they do just fine eating whole grain breads and whole grain rice. They'll do fine. It's very tricky to get the right diet for your body, and it's a real tough subject, dealing with the ultimate diet for you to customize for a person, and it also depends on what they want. But if you want to keep your immune system strong, which is what everybody wants to do now. Keep your stress low, get good quality sleep, and really reduce your sugar intake. Whether you're vegan or not, whether you're eating lots of meat or a little bit, reduce your sugar intake, meaning just that white sugar and all those sugar substitutes. Just reduce that intake, and if you can take it down to zero, that would be great. Okay, so that's what I have for the introduction today. I'm going to go off lecture mode and open up the call to questions. There we go. Okay. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it. If not, I'll just close off the call this week. Do we have any questions?
I do. I have concerning my mother. She has an appointment with you when you come, if you come.
Well, I will be there. It's just whether it's the end of May or sometime in June.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I haven't talked to you recently to know how you were planning or thinking.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting that in the newsletter, just stating that, the trip is still valid. It's just once Nevada and Pennsylvania open up.
Okay. So she's been having a problem with her mouth. She has a very dry mouth. And back in December, she had gone to a family doctor, and then she had a phone consultation in January with the same one, and then she had another appointment in February. And the problem is improving a little bit. I mean, it's not getting worse. And I think some of the cracks on her tongue are not quite as deep as what they had been. The family doctor went over her history, pulled up old records and stuff, and did not send us for more tests at this point. She suggested that she get going with a B vitamin and probiotic, and then use like xylitol mints or mouthwash or stuff like that to try to moisten her mouth. And then at the phone consultation, she said she should get started on a multivitamin. So she's been doing these things for weeks and weeks. And, the problem is it's not getting worse, and I think it's healing a little bit. But we're just sort of stuck, and we're not sure what else we should be doing.
Okay. Now, did they do a culture of her mouth and say if there was a certain bacteria in there? Would they take a swab and they give you the results a few days later?
No, she did not do that yet. I don't know if she plans to or not, but is that something we should be asking for?
Well, the easy solution here is for her to hold colloidal silver in her mouth twice a day for as long as she can.
Okay.
And it would probably be good if she just spit it out.
Okay.
So she's going to hold colloidal silver in her mouth for, say, a couple minutes.
Okay.
And then spit it out.
Okay.
Now, this is different than normal, because normally you have colloidal silver in your mouth, you swish it around for 10 seconds, and then you swallow it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is pretty localized. So we're going to try to kill the bacteria in the mouth without damaging the good bacteria in her gut, which is the gastrointestinal system.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to hurt the bacteria in her stomach or her intestines. And she can still take probiotics during this time, so it will not interfere because she's not swallowing the colloidal silver.
Okay, I was wondering about that. If so after she was doing these things, and we knew we were making a little bit of progress, but still very concerned about what it looks like. She was playing around a little bit with the silver, just occasionally, swishing in her mouth, and I think she was swallowing it. And then here about a week ago, she started doing it. She was doing it about 3 times, like 2 times in the daytime and then 1 time right before she went to bed. So it had been 3. She was using about a half of a cap of silver total.
And she wants to swish that around for many minutes.
Okay.
And then spit it out.
Okay, so that was about half of a cap. She had split into 3 doses. Is that enough, or should she be doing like half of a cap each time?
Yep, half a cap each time, twice a day.
Okay.
And that should clear up in just a couple of days. In 2-3 days, that should be gone.
Okay. She was trying it here a little more intensely to see if it could help anything, but then she was swallowing it, so that probably was working against her.
Well, she wasn't holding it in her mouth long enough. That's what's hard to do.
Okay. All right.
So
we'll make sure that it's a couple of minutes, or
Yeah. I mean, it's similar to a technique that dentists do not like you to do, and that's called oil pulling, where you hold some oil in your mouth, typically coconut oil, but most any oil works, and you swish it around in your mouth for about 15 minutes, and then you spit it out. And what you're spitting out is a lot of bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
With the colloidal silver, you're killing the bacteria or fungus or yeast that's causing the dry mouth and the cracking.
It didn't seem like she had, white stuff on her tongue earlier in the story, but now the last couple of weeks she's struggling with that more.
Yeah, right. So that should take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that dentists do not like you to do the oil pulling, or they do?
Well, it takes business from them.
Oh, okay.
So, the almighty dollar. So, I mean, it's really not in your dentist's best interest for you to have healthy teeth and gums. If you think about it. So they're not going to tell you to oil pull. You have to learn that from someone like me.
Mm-hmm. My dentist is a holistic dentist, and he had given me some papers one time on it, but I was a little bit scared to try it for myself with some of the complications.
Well, then you have a gem for a dentist.
I was a little scared to try it for myself with some of my complicated things.
Yeah, your sensitivity. Yeah.
But I still have the papers, so I could pull them out. And is that something?
Easy to do. Just swish it for 15 minutes, spit it out, then brush your teeth.
And is that something that my mom should be trying?
She can. Yeah, she can do that a few hours after doing the colloidal silver. Yeah, she can.
Okay, just a few hours between.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want the silver to work as long as possible without eating food or putting anything else in the mouth. Okay.
All right. So 2 times a day and about a half a cap each time, and hold it as long as you can, a couple minutes.
Yeah, and then, she can do the oil pulling too. And, it depends on when you eat, et cetera, but I would wait minimum 1 hour between the colloidal silver and oil pulling. Minimum. Just say at least 1 hour, so let that colloidal silver do its job.
She's been taking one probiotic. She had been taking other probiotics and enzymes, and then when the doctor said she needs to be taking, make sure that she finished using, and then she switched over to your kind. And she's been taking 1 probiotic and 2 enzymes in a day. And she probably should be taking... She
probably needs more. She's probably going to need 3 probiotics a day and 2 enzymes a meal.
Okay, 3 probiotics.
Which would probably translate to 2 enzymes a meal and 1 probiotic a meal.
Yes.
and take them right before the first bite.
Both of those together before?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long?
And that'll help too.
How long may she take the level of probiotic without giving herself a break?
The probiotics, she's fine. I mean, she can take 3 probiotics a day the rest of her life if she wants to.
Okay.
You reach a point of diminishing returns where you only need 1 probiotic per day. Normally, I can determine that just by looking at someone's blood, and then I say, how many probiotics are you taking? And they'll say 3 a day, but I don't see any parasites in their blood. So I'll say, drop it down to 1 per day maintenance.
Okay.
So when you're really confident that there's no more bacteria, yeast, fungus type problem, you drop the probiotic content down to 1 per day. It depends on the person. People that eat a lot of sugar tend to need more probiotics.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like people that eat a lot of meat need a lot of calcium. So your calcium needs go up when you eat a lot of meat. Your probiotic needs go up when you eat a lot of sugar or foods containing sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar's not our friend. It just tastes good. It's not our friend.
Right. Okay, this gives us some things to try here, and we'll keep in touch. And I guess if she sees you, we can do these things until then at least.
Oh yeah, for sure, because it'll be minimum 5 or 6 weeks till I get there, and it could be longer. I mean, I don't know how much of the country is going to open in May, so I may have to be safe and change the trip to June. And I also don't even know if that Holiday Inn Express is open in Lebanon.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure if any hotels are open.
I'm not sure on that either.
Yeah. I know the airlines are operating, so they never shut down the airports. They never shut down any of the airlines. But I'm pretty sure hotels were shut down. But I don't know for sure about that.
All right, but thank you.
Yeah. If we don't have any other questions, I'm going to end the call, and I'll be doing another call next week. So until then, stay healthy, keep your immune system strong. Okay, good night, everybody.
Thanks.